I had plans. I had a new semester of work about to begin. I had videos scheduled. I was decluttering, selling things, making decisions about where I might live, how I might travel, and what the next chapter of my life could look like. And then my vision changed, literally. Suddenly, all those plans they had an asterisk beside them. Because when you live with multiple sclerosis, a new symptom is rarely just a new symptom. It can become a question mark over your work, your independence, your energy, and sometimes your entire future. Today, I want to talk honestly about what that uncertainty feels like, how MS affects the plans I make, and why I'm still making plans anyway. Hello, friends. Welcome back to Bloom and Wander, the place where we talk about rebuilding your life, creating more freedom, and finding a way forward, even when the path keeps changing underneath your feet. If you're new here, I'm Carla. I'm 51 years old. I'm rebuilding after some very difficult years, and I have multiple sclerosis. Normally, I talk about work and money and downsizing and midlife and reinvention and designing a life that feels more intentional. But MS is not a separate subject from any of those things. It affects how I earn money, how much energy I have, what kind of housing makes sense for me, whether I can travel, and how confidently I can plan 6 months or even 6 days ahead. This isn't going to be like a doom and gloom video. I don't believe my life is over just because I have MS. But I also don't want to offer the polished social media version where every hardship becomes this motivational quote. Sometimes uncertainty is just uncertainty. And I'm learning how to live inside it without letting it take over my whole house. So recently, I began having problems with my vision and my left eye. Because of my history with MS, optic neuritis was my first concern. I went to the emergency room and I had a CT scan, and I was given medications, including Solumedrol, Toradol, and Zofran. CT didn't give a clear answer, and the medication didn't resolve the problem. So now I'm waiting to be evaluated by an ophthalmologist and trying not to let my mind race ahead of the medical information that I actually have. That is harder than it actually sounds. When your vision's affected, ordinary everyday tasks suddenly become really complicated. Driving isn't safe, so I'm stuck by myself. Getting to appointments requires help, and I'm not one who likes to ask for help. Work becomes a question. Even filming a video like this can require a lot more concentration than usual. And underneath all of that is fear. I'm afraid I'm going to lose more vision. I'm afraid what a serious diagnosis can mean for me. And I'm afraid that just as I'm getting back to work again and trying to regain some stability, my body may change the terms of our agreement. I don't say that because I've decided the worst is going to happen. I say it because I'm pretending not to be frightened. Pretending I'm not to be frightened wouldn't be honest with you. There is this pressure, especially online, to turn fear into inspiration right away. But having fear doesn't mean that I've given up. It means that something more important to me is at stake. One of the hardest parts of having MS is what I call the invisible math. So like every activity has a cost, but the price changes from day to day. So taking a shower costs energy. Driving costs focus. Working a shift at your job costs physical stamina. Grocery shopping, cooking, cleaning, answering messages, filming this video. It all comes out of the same account, and on a good day, the balance feels generous. But on another day, I already wake up overdrawn, and apparently my nervous system doesn't offer overdraft protection. So that makes employment a lot more complicated. I want to work. I want the dignity, the structure of the income, the independence. Independence is very important to me. I need all of that, and that's what work can provide. And I'm excited about getting back into the school year. But wanting to work and being physically able to perform constantly aren't always the same thing. MS fatigue is not like ordinary tiredness. It's not always something that can be fixed with coffee or determination or taking a nap or going to bed early. Sometimes my body feels like someone's unplugged it through the wall. And medications add a whole other layer of problems. Some medications may help with the underlying problem temporarily while making daily life harder. So the steroids I'm taking, for example, they disrupt my sleep, increase my appetite, they affect my mood, they make me irritable, jumpy. Other stuff I take makes me all foggy and sluggish. So the treatment that's supposed to help me recover may also affect my energy and affect my ability to function in the short term. But that is a reality when your income depends on showing up at a particular time and moving at a particular pace and doing it again day after day. This isn't a lack of work ethic. This is just logistics, just how it is. For this recent health issue, I had been thinking seriously about simplifying my life even further. I'd been contemplating experimenting with van life, vehicle living, and traveling during school breaks in the summer months. And part of me really still wants that freedom. I love the idea of just caring less, spending less, seeing more of the country, making content, appreciating different parts of the world along the way. But MS has to have a seat at my planning table. I have to be able to think about access to healthcare. I have to think about medication storage and refills. I have to think about heat because heat makes MS symptoms worse. I have to think about fatigue. I have to think about safe places to rest, safe places to sleep, transportation if I can't drive. What happens if I need help and I'm far away from home? In the US, healthcare is also a financial question. I'm lucky that I do have affordable healthcare, and it covers most of my expenses, most of the things I need. But a life plan can't be based on what sounds free and adventurous. It also has to account for insurance and doctor's appointments and prescriptions, testing, and the possibility that my ability to earn could change. It doesn't automatically mean that I can't travel or live simply or live a more unconventional life. It just means that my version of freedom needs infrastructure. The dream may need emergency savings. It may need a reliable vehicle, a backup housing plan, better health insurance, a route that keeps me within reach of having medical care in an emergency. And that version is a lot less spontaneous than simply driving out towards the sunset. It's more likely keep me safe enough to enjoy the horizon when I reach it. The truth is, I don't know what the future holds for me. None of us really do. And chronic illness is just one of those things that removes some of the illusion that we do. So I'm trying to focus on the things that are still within my control. I'm trying to keep my appointments. I'm trying to report all the new symptoms I have instead of just ignoring them. Try to keep up with the daily walk, even if it's 10 minutes. I try to eat healthier. Try to get enough sleep. I can take my medications as directed, and I can ask questions when the side effects are interfering with my life. I can prioritize, the sleep and the hydration and the movement when I'm able, and manage stress as realistically as possible. I can pay attention to the heat and the exhaustion and all those signals that tell me I need to stop before my body stops me. And I can build financial breathing room slowly, even if the amount I can save right now feels very, very small. I can simplify my possessions and my obligations so that I'm not spending all of my limited energy maintaining those things that no longer support my needs in my life and no longer serve me. And I can ask for help. That last one's not easy for me, having to depend on someone else for a ride or to help me cook a meal just because my vision's impaired doesn't really feel empowering to me. It's the opposite of the independence and the freedom that I crave. But sometimes accepting that help is the exact thing that protects my independence in the long run. Rest isn't surrender. Adapting isn't quitting. Asking for help does not erase everything that I'm still capable of doing. I used to think a good plan happened exactly as it was expected. And now I think maybe a good plan can bend without breaking completely. I'm learning to write my plans out in pencil. I can say this is what I'm working toward without demanding that life guarantee the outcome. I can begin a new job, a new semester, and still acknowledge that I may need accommodations. I may need extra medical appointments or a change of course. I can dream about travel while building my safety net first. And I can grow this channel at a pace my health allows instead of measuring my worth by how many videos I film in a week or how much content I can produce. And if a plan does have to change, that doesn't mean that the whole dream is gone. It doesn't mean I've been a fool. Sometimes the destination stays the same, but the route changes. And that's what matters to me right now. Because I don't want to postpone living until I have certainty. I'm never going to have certainty. I know that if I wait until I know my exact health situation, housing situation, work, finances, and all that future stuff, what that looks like, I may spend the rest of my life waiting. For now, hope for me isn't insisting that everything is going to be fine. I can't promise myself that my vision is going to return completely. I can't promise myself that my MS is going to remain stable or that every plan I make is going to work out. Hope is saying, whatever the next piece of information is, I will meet it when it arrives. I'm going to ask questions. I'm going to make the next appointment. I'm going to adjust my budget. I'm going to rest when I need to. And I will grieve what needs grieving. And then I'll look for the next available path. I've already survived chapters of my life that I thought were going to break me. I didn't come out of that untouched, but I did emerge with more clarity about the things that matter. And that's why I'm building this life. I want a life with freedom in it. I want meaningful work, but I don't want my value reduced to how many hours my body can produce. I want financial stability, but not because money can prevent all the crises and all the bad stuff, but because it can create choices when a crisis does come. I want adventure, but I also want safety. I want to be realistic about MS without making it the author of every chapter of my life. MS is part of my story. It influences the route I'm taking. On some days, it controls the speed, but it's not the only thing that's steering the car. So if you're living with chronic illness or disability or any kind of uncertainty that keeps interrupting your plans, I want you to know that changing the plan is not the same as abandoning your life. You're allowed to be scared. You're allowed to have fear. And you're allowed to be hopeful at the same time. You're allowed to rest and still have ambition. You're allowed to build smaller gentler, more flexible versions of your dreams and still call it a dream. You're not compromising anything. Right now, I'm waiting for answers about my eye. And I'm taking this one appointment and one decision at a time. I don't know exactly what comes next. I have a busy week this next week, that's for sure. But I'm still here. I'm still creating. I'm still planning. I'm still looking for the places where my life can bloom, even when I have to wander to a different road to find them. So, if this video has resonated with you, please tell me in the comments below. How have you learned to make plans when life refuses to give you certainty? And if you're living with chronic illness, let me know. I'd like to hear about it. Please like this video and subscribe if you want, and keep following me. This is a very real, sometimes messy journey of someone rebuilding their life in their 50s. Thank you for spending this time with me. Take care of yourself, and I'll see you in the next video.